When we encounter negative energy from others, it often feels like a heavy cloud settling over us, altering the atmosphere and disturbing our inner peace. This is a familiar experience for almost everyone. Whether it's an impatient coworker, a critical friend, or a frustrated family member, their negativity seems to cling to us. It seeps into our thoughts and emotions, disrupting our sense of calm. But why does this happen? How can someone else's frustration or bad mood infiltrate our own inner world? To answer this, we must turn inward. A crucial yet often overlooked truth is that negativity can only take hold of us if it resonates with something already present within us. At first, this might seem puzzling, especially when we feel blindsided by another person's negative energy while we were otherwise at peace. However, if we examine the situation more closely, we might realize that their emotions have triggered something inside us, perhaps a fear, an insecurity, or an unresolved feeling. We're not consciously absorbing their negativity, but their energy awakens something within us that we may not even be aware of. It could be a mild annoyance, a lingering frustration, or a hidden sensitivity. Our instinctive response to this is often resistance rather than acceptance. And this is where the problem escalates. Resistance does not dissolve negativity, it amplifies it. When we push back against someone else's negative energy, we engage in an internal struggle. We might feel wronged, defensive, or even angry at them for disturbing our peace. However, this resistance only strengthens our connection to their energy. It's like being caught in a whirlpool. The more we fight against it, the deeper we get pulled in. Think about times when someone's bad mood affected you deeply. Maybe a coworker snapped at you, or a loved one lashed out unexpectedly. Even if your day had been going well, their energy seemed to linger, weighing you down. Why does this happen? Because something inside you was triggered, perhaps a sense of injustice, a need for control, or an underlying emotional wound. These moments don't just reflect the other person's state of mind. They also reveal aspects of ourselves that may need attention and healing. Recognizing that your inner landscape influences your reactions can be unsettling, but it also grants you immense power. This realization means that your response is ultimately within your control. That leads to an important understanding. You can choose how to react. Instead of resisting negativity, you can allow it to pass over you without getting caught up in it. You might think this is easier said than done, but this is where the concept of presence becomes essential. Presence is the ability to remain fully aware and anchored in the moment, without being swayed by the emotional turbulence around you. When you cultivate presence, you become like a steady rock in the middle of a stormy sea. The waves of others' emotions may crash around you, but they cannot shake your foundation. Developing this presence requires consistent mindfulness practice. It means being aware not only of others' actions, but also of your own internal responses. When faced with negativity, instead of immediately reacting with frustration or irritation, you pause. In that moment of pause, you have a choice. Do you allow their energy to pull you into their emotional state, or do you remain grounded in your own? By choosing the latter, you retain control over your emotions, refusing to be a mirror for their negativity. But why does presence work? Presence is not about ignoring others or detaching from the world. Instead, it is about being fully engaged while safeguarding your inner peace. When you are present, you can observe negativity for what it truly is, a temporary state that does not define you. You begin to see that another person's frustration or anger is their burden to carry, not something you need to fix or absorb. This doesn't mean you become indifferent or emotionally distant. Rather, it allows you to cultivate compassion without becoming entangled in negativity. Compassion plays a crucial role in transforming these interactions. When you meet negativity with compassion, you shift the entire dynamic. Instead of seeing the other person as an adversary or someone to defend yourself against, you recognize them as a human being struggling with their own inner turmoil. This doesn't mean excusing poor behavior, but rather understanding that negativity often stems from pain or confusion. By seeing others through this lens, you allow yourself to remain present instead of being pulled into their emotional storm. Compassion becomes a protective buffer, shielding you from the urge to react in the same negative manner. However, it's important to acknowledge that this isn't always easy. There will be times when someone's negativity is overwhelming, and your own emotional resilience is low. In those moments, feeling affected is natural. This is where the practice of acceptance becomes crucial. Accepting that you cannot control others is incredibly freeing. You may wish they would change or that their mood wouldn't impact you, but clinging to that desire only creates resistance. Instead, when you recognize that people will sometimes bring negative energy into your space and that it's not your responsibility to fix them, you release yourself from the burden of carrying their emotional weight. Acceptance does not mean passively enduring toxic behavior. On the contrary, it empowers you to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not about pushing people away or shutting them out. They are about protecting your peace while allowing others to experience their emotions without making them your own. You can be compassionate without absorbing their negativity. You can listen without being drawn in. You can care without losing yourself. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, a recognition that your emotional well-being matters too. Interestingly, by choosing not to engage with someone's negativity, you often help to diffuse it. Negative energy thrives on reaction. When someone is upset, they may unconsciously seek a response, whether it's conflict, validation, or sympathy. But when you refuse to feed into their energy, there is nothing for them to latch on to. This doesn't mean their negativity will disappear immediately, but without your participation, it loses momentum. Over time, they may even recognize their own behavior more clearly because you haven't mirrored it back to them. There's a deeper lesson in this. Dealing with negativity isn't about changing others. It's about transforming yourself. When you focus on maintaining your peace and presence, you become less vulnerable to external emotional turbulence. You realize that your state of mind is your own responsibility, regardless of what happens around you. This shift in perspective not only safeguards your emotional well-being, but also has a ripple effect. By remaining calm in the face of negativity, you unconsciously model a different way of responding, showing others that they too can rise above emotional reactivity. In this way, handling negativity becomes an opportunity for growth, not just for you, but for those around you. It becomes a practice of patience, compassion, and inner strength. And while it may not always be easy, the more you cultivate this mindset, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll find that others' negativity affects you less and less, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You've strengthened your emotional boundaries, deepened your presence, and embraced the understanding that your peace is yours to protect.